we get started, I want to say this. If you must bash someone publicly in your industry, make sure that that person isn't someone that is a leader in your industry and accomplishes more in a day than you, your past, present, and future generations ever hope to accomplish in their lifetime. Young Thug has been disrespecting Jay-Z for years now, actually. Ever since he came on the scene, he said one thing or the other, especially during the GQ magazine that interview that he had a few years ago. So he's been saying some nasty things about Jay-Z, and we're gonna go into that in this video. But before that, let's address something that happened more recently with Young Thug. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Florence. I want to talk about Young Thug and what he said about Jay-Z. It's kind of going viral on Twitter because people are not having it. So Young Thug had an interview with a podcast called $1 Million Worth of Game. That's the name of the podcast, guys. I'm not joking. So he did an interview with these guys, right? And they were talking about doing versus battles and artists. And Young Thug does not believe that Jay-Z has 30 stadium anthems, and he does. Here's what he said.
I think, like, we ain't talking about stream sales. We ain't talking about nothing. We talking about anthems. We talking about songs they know. Like, when I perform, I got 30, 40 songs that the whole stadium gonna know. They gonna know these all 30 songs. If Jay-Z ain't got 30 songs like that, what the whole stadium finna sing?
He got a lot though.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, I know he do. He probably got 50 of them. Saying, like, I'm not just literally saying him. I'm just saying who you thinking.
Absolutely,
the man.
Absolutely, because honestly,
I done been shows. I done did shows with everybody, bro. I don't see. I'm backstage, like,
damn.
I thought they knew this song from him. They don't even know this song.
Damn.
I don't even perform. I'm so scared to get booed. I don't even perform a song they won't know.
So you heard what he said. He does not believe that people know up to 30 of Jay-Z's songs, and that Jay-Z does not have 30 stadium anthems. Now, normally when a younger artist says this about an older artist that was around for a long time and is an icon, it causes this friction between the older generation and the younger generation, and everybody's saying one thing or the other, and some people would agree, others would disagree. But here's what I think, okay? Young Thug and a lot of people that listen to Young Thug do not necessarily listen to Jay-Z's music. They know of his music, they know he's a good artist, they hear it, but they don't listen to it consistently. So they're not fans of his per se. They don't really follow his music because it's not being played as much as it used to on the radio anymore. So it's not surprising that if you have a concert today and it's filled with younger people, they will not know Jay-Z's songs word for word, or at least not 30 of his songs. That is not surprising at all. What Young Thug and his 3 brain cells fail to realize is that if you have a concert and it's Jay-Z on stage and it's people that are from the previous generation that are, at the concerts, they will know Jay-Z's songs. They will know more than 30 of Jay-Z's songs word for word. So it's all about the crowd that you're performing for. And it's not so much as this person is not relevant anymore and that person is not as good or as big a rapper as they say he is. I'm the bigger rapper. It's not really that. It's who are you singing for? If Young Thug is in a room full of older people, perhaps people that used to listen to Jay-Z, not necessarily like senior citizens, but like people in your 30s, 40s. If he's in a concert with them, they won't know his songs either, because that crowd just don't follow him as much. So it's all about who you're performing for. But, he does not seem to realize that. And he tried to backtrack after Guile or Gil. I don't know what the guy's name, but the interviewer told him, well, but Jay-Z has a lot of songs though. And Young Thug tried to backtrack. I don't know if he finally realized what he just said was like made no sense, but he tried to backtrack and he was like, yeah, I'm not really talking about Jay-Z per se. That he was talking about people like Jay-Z that people would expect would have a lot of hits. And so basically, he's using Jay-Z as an example of, he was trying to make a point that people that you expect would have a lot of hits and stadium anthems actually don't. And he wasn't speaking about Jay-Z specifically. So in my mind, I'm like, so why did you mention Jay-Z's name then? Like, he specifically mentioned Jay-Z's name though. And it wasn't until they said Jay-Z does have a lot of hits that he started to backtrack. And this is not the first time the Young Thug has come after an icon. Recently, a few months ago, he spoke about Andre 3000 and how he does not know Andre. He does not listen to Andre's songs. And he tried to belittle Andre. And people weren't having it. And it seems like Young Thug has not worked through his insecurities and his lack of talent. And he keeps coming for people that have accomplished way more than he would ever dream of accomplishing in his life. And between Andre 3000 and Jay-Z, Young Thug is nowhere. So I don't know why he continues to come for these icons. But anyway, let me talk about something that he said about Jay-Z some years ago. I don't know if it was in 2015 or 2017. But he did an interview with GQ magazine, and he's done a lot of interviews like this actually, but I think this one was with GQ magazine, and he was talking about Jay-Z's age. And at the time, Jay-Z was, I don't know how old, I forgot how old Jay-Z was at the time, but he wasn't 50 yet at the time. And Young Thug kept rounding up Jay-Z's age to 50 while he was talking about Jay-Z. And he was talking about how he knows that Jay-Z has a lot of insane lyrics and he's a very good artist, but he would never buy Jay-Z's music because of Jay-Z's age. That's it. So it's not that he doesn't enjoy Jay-Z's music. He probably tried stealing some of it and could not pull it off. And he does enjoy Jay-Z's music, but the only reason why he would not buy Jay-Z's music is because of Jay-Z's age and his age. As a matter of fact, let me see if I can find exactly what he said. And I will try to read it word for word if it's not full of curse words. Okay, so Young Thug said, if you're 30, 40 years old, you're not getting listened to by minors. Like, Jay-Z has some of the sickest lyrics ever, but I could never buy his CD just because of my age and because of his age. By the time I turn that old, I ain't gonna be doing what he's doing. And when they asked him what his focus is, he said this, and this is how you know he only has 3 brain cells in his head. He says his focus is to be rich forever. He hopes to be like Bill Gates with all the money in the world and a career like Lil Wayne or Michael Jackson. His focus is to be rich. That already is, well, to each their own. People can focus on being rich if they want. But I can tell you right now that people with successful careers like Michael Jackson and Bill Gates and Jay-Z were not focused solely on being rich. But to each their own. And by the way, he wants to have a career like Lil Wayne and Michael Jackson. The problem is that those people have talent and he doesn't. But sure, let's ignore the talent part. So Young Thug also said on Jay-Z, he said, I don't want to rap forever. I don't want to be 50 years old and rapping. Man, I'm pretty sure nobody wants to do that. I'm pretty sure Jay-Z don't want to rap right now. I don't know if he fails to realize that Jay-Z raps because he wants to, not because he has to, because Jay-Z owns so much. He owns a lot of businesses. He's constantly creating something new. He owns a streaming platform. He has artists under him. He has a lot going on that Young Thug's three brain cells cannot wrap around. So I'm not surprised that all of this will elude Young Thug. But Jay-Z raps because he wants to, not because he has to. It used to be that he had to at the beginning of his career, but starting from the 90s, Jay-Z started to get control of the music industry in a way that very few other artists has. But Young Thug seems to, I don't know, this guy is just so slow. I can't even. But anyway, he said all these negative things, some very ageist things about Jay-Z and Jay-Z's age. And so he's been saying a lot of negative things about Jay-Z for a long time now. So it's not surprising that he would say this, that he has said recently regarding Jay-Z not having 30 stadium anthems. I don't know if he's trying to convince himself or he truly believes that, but honestly, I'm starting to think that he truly believes the things that comes out of his mouth, because he's just very ignorant on a lot of things. And he doesn't have to like an icon. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that the younger artists have to like the older artists, but you can't just disqualify everything that another person has accomplished. Like you can't look at someone who has accomplished so much more before you're even aware of yourself and is still accomplishing a lot more every day than you probably will in your entire career, and try to minimize their accomplishments. It's just so annoying when people do this, and it's always the people with no talents that try to do this. Always the people with no talents and people that are struggling and people that barely have their foot in the door and can get pushed out at any time. They're the ones that always come out to say stuff like this. If Young Thug were smart, he would put himself in a position where he has a good relationship with someone like Jay-Z, because Jay-Z is not just a rapper. He is a businessman, and he's in so many industries. He has his hands in so many industries: sports, entertainment, and in many aspects, right? In so many areas of investments. And instead of Young Thug to see Jay-Z as a mentor and find a way to inch closer to Jay-Z and learn a thing or two from Jay-Z in order for him to be as successful as he says he wants to be, instead, he's busy bashing this man who, by the way, is probably one of the top black men in the entertainment industry, in his industry. Imagine having a career, right, in a particular industry, and then you look at the most influential top person in your industry and you begin to bash them. What sense does that make? He should be trying to make Jay-Z his mentor, try to form a relationship with Jay-Z so that he can have connections and learn something. Like, God, people are so slow. I can't even. But anyway, he said all of these negative things. I don't know how he expects this to help him. He tried to backtrack. That is not gonna work. And I don't know these people, but I feel like Jay-Z may not be the most forgiving person. I don't know. That's just the vibe I get from him. I feel like he's a sort of person that he doesn't really forget people that slight him. And you don't get to the top of a dog eat dog world like the entertainment industry by being nice and sweet to everyone. So that alone tells you something about him. You have to be firm about your who you let come close to you. And if I were in Jay-Z's position and someone is being this way and saying this negative things and has this opinion about me, will I bring him closer to me and have him learn what I know? And no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to keep them at arm's length. I'm going to take a note of them, keep a list, and make sure they are at arm's length. Because clearly Young Thug wants what Jay-Z has. He wants the respect that people give to Jay-Z. He wants the money that Jay-Z has. He just wants the reputation and the life that Jay-Z has, and he doesn't have that. Every time he opens his mouth, it's to bash icons that have accomplished more than him. and he can't seem to realize that this is not going to get him very far. It's not going to make people respect him more or buy more of his music. And the last thing I want to talk about regarding this issue is the fact that I noticed that there's a lot of age comments when it comes to Jay-Z. And I've noticed it with Beyonce as well. I feel like very few artists are shamed for their age as much as these two are shamed for their age. And ageism is a real thing and it happens very often. I remember not very long ago, Jason Lee called Beyonce a senior citizen. I think he said something like she's almost a senior citizen now. And Young Thug is talking about Jay-Z's age. I know he made that comment a couple years ago, but still, very few artists are shamed for their age as much as Jay-Z and Beyonce seem to be. I don't know if it's because of the genre of music that they're in, rap and pop, and even artists that are in hip hop. I feel like those artists are on stage dancing and singing, and so it seems like it's something that younger people should be doing. But artists that are in, say, artists like Patti LaBelle and artists like that are not shamed for their age. They're celebrated for being their age and still continuing to make good music. But for some reason, when you're in hip hop and when you rap specifically, people feel like you have to retire ASAP. And I don't know who set the rules on the retirement age. I think people can make music for as long as they're able to. So Young Thug needs to stop with his ageism. So that's basically all I have to say about 3 brain cells to Young Thug. Hopefully he does not find another icon to bash in the next 1 to 2 months, because he does this on a monthly basis at this point to help get his numbers up or something. I don't know. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. See you in my next one. Bye guys.